Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Dizer. I'm here with my Gaming Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lane. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Just a few quick health and wellness stories to review today. I want to start with overwork. I mean, this is a conversation that we haven't really had on the show yet, I don't believe. But I was reading a story this morning about how much we're working and how it's terrible for our health, basically. The idea of working beyond 40 hours a week. What does that do, and has that been documented? And of course, it has. And we've got lots of research showing the negative ramifications of the current workplace culture that we're dealing with here in North America. But also with we've got statistics to say that, if you work this much, it has this effect on your health. And I know that you've seen... Well, I mean, if you've listened to the show before, you've heard Amy's adrenal fatigue story. But, you've seen the ramifications of overwork. And I've definitely seen them. I was in a situation where, working like 16 to 20 hours a day for a very long time and saw immune system issues. Your cortisol regulation was thrown off.
Yeah, mine was about overworking, but it was more about the pressure of... Because with yours, it was like work that had to be done that was kind of laid out. With me, it was an entrepreneurial, the more I work, the better I do.
Well, that's what's interesting about yours, is just the self-motivation to push.
Well, self-motivation, but external motivation, because when you work more, you make more money, you get more done. And I was very much under following a lot of people that, basically their quotes were, if you're not working, someone else is.
Right.
So you're falling behind. And at the time, the food blogging stuff just started. And it was really volatile. It still is, but it's more covered now. So, you had to be on it constantly. On everything. You had to be ahead getting your ideas out, but then you also had to be fielding getting your content off other people's websites. It was a nightmare. Plus, I had all the financial pressure. That's just a lot.
Yeah,
plus my whole mental emotional from being from a place where people didn't even consider what I was doing was a job. Where I'm not the type of person that would just send them my tax returns and be like, so is this not a job?
Right.
So it was just very scary. The whole thing. I wish I could do it all over again.
Well, what would you do differently?
I would be way cooler. But I would do more work in certain areas because...
If I could do it over again, I'd push myself more.
I would do it differently.
You'd restructure how you did things.
Right.
Focus on things that are the most important.
That's right.
Put your energy towards those.
I would have gone more in different directions back then.
Right. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I know. First thing that comes up is girl, you do more work. But
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand. So let's go through some of these numbers. What does it mean to work more than 40 hours a week for your health?
It means you don't have a life, I'll tell you that.
It does mean you don't have a life. On that front, 10% of those who work more than 50 to 60 hours report relationship problems.
Yeah.
That's not surprising. That reminds me of Elon Musk. Really.
Oh, yeah.
We laugh about Elon, but he's a visionary in what he does, and probably the most well-respected entrepreneur there is.
And we adore him, and I adore him, but I've always said to David, how does he have a wife? How would someone put up with this? And she's filed for divorce, and he's filed for divorce, and it just, I don't know, it just makes me laugh, because you don't ever wonder, I wonder what went wrong there. You're like,
right, yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
I know what.
I can see.
He's one of the people that are like, if you're not working, someone else is working. So
that was, we watched a business thing with Elon Musk one time, and they were saying, what's the...
He said, if someone's working 40 hours a week, and you're working 80 hours
What was the question? The question was, how do you become successful in business?
Yeah.
And this was his answer. It was an example.
Yeah, he said if someone is working 40 hours a week, and you then work 80 hours a week, you're going to get better than them. So just work way more than everyone else. It was like,
awesome.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I will take this
If
advice.
someone's working 40 hours a week and then you work 80 hours a week, that means you'll do twice as much stuff, therefore you'll be more successful. Yeah, obviously.
Obviously.
Well, that's not true for everyone, and I mean, this first stat is that 10% of those who work 50 to 60 hours report relationship problems, but the rate increases to 30% for those who work more than 60 hours a week.
Oh, yeah.
Which, easy to see.
I mean, I would never report relationship problems between you and I, but we definitely missed at least 6 years of fun experiences. Like, we didn't, like, do, like, everyone in our lives were, buying their first home, were, doing vacations, were going to people's weddings, or, and we were literally locked down. Mm-hmm. And we had to sacrifice.
Oh, definitely. So, I mean, we'd be in the category of those 90% of people who work that much who don't have relationship problems, but you can still see how there's ramifications on...
Yeah, but if either one of us decided to turn on each other during these stressful times, we're just blessed that we didn't. Honestly.
Oh, definitely.
It's because we went into this as a partnership and we understood it was going to be super hard, but we're also not the type, like, we're different. We're not the type of people that are, like, I was never looking to you like, entertain me, love me, you be the example of my self-worth, you make me feel special, go do special, and you didn't do that to me either. We were both accountable for our own stuff during that time, and then we both tried to make it a little bit easier on each other, but we didn't have a lot to give. But if one of us didn't understand what was happening during that time, we wouldn't have made it.
That's true. I think the key here that you're explaining is this idea of communication about what are we doing? Where are we?
Communication.
And it's forced communication by you because it's so important, and I did not recognize the importance of it.
But
until
it's
you go
communication, expectation, and then like I don't know.
Well, this is why it's so important because, I mean, looking at these lists here, there is times when you have to work more than 50 hours a week, 50 to 60 hours a week in certain industries, for example.
But if one of us in this relationship thought that that a relationship was what we see, like, portrayed on TV, or the common, what we see with relationships, that it's about getting something from the other and the other person making you feel like a woman or like a man, and if one of us thought that was what being in a partnership was, then we would have been done.
Right.
Because of that expectation. It's crazy.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's
an interesting point.
Yeah, so you have to understand, and you both have to be in the right place. You know what I mean? Like, if I wasn't in a place of business when you were in the place of your undertaking.
Yeah, right. School
then, I mean, say I wanted to start I did. Like, if I don't know.
Yeah, I completely
hard.
get it. In this situation, usually what you associate with overwork is stress, weight gain, poor diet, these types of things. So if you look at how it affects the body totally, what they see is if you work more than 10 hours a day, there's an associated 60% jump in risk of cardiovascular issues. So increased risk of stroke, increased risk of heart disease, increased risk of heart attack. High blood pressure. So these things are all increased when you hit that 10-hour per day mark by 60%. That's significant, 60%. I mean, that's huge, and 10 hours a day is pretty easy to hit when you look at.
For us, we're like 10 hours.
10 hours, come on,
that's a good day.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's significant. You have to mitigate those risk factors with your lifestyle, whether it be, staying sharp on nutrition and exercise.
Well, and I think a way to motivate yourself, especially if you're working hard, to achieve a certain result, instead of just being on the wheel, the way I would kind of trick myself is I would do my cardio first thing in the morning because I felt smarter after I was done. I felt more energetic. I felt like I could give more to others because I didn't have that thing in the back of my head. And when I was, killing myself working, that's how I got to the gym. I mean, I could have taken that 45 minutes and delegated it easily somewhere else and went to bed earlier and blah, 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 blah. But the way I would get myself there was, this is actually, money in your bank.
Exactly, which is so key for an entrepreneur because it sets up your day for success. Oh, already I'm successful. And like you said, it instills self-confidence.
Oh, yeah. and you're being about your business.
You're being
like,
about,
I mean,
in our industry, yeah.
Yeah, like, I have to be it before I tell anyone else they should try it.
Well, you have this core belief, and it's very important to you, and I think that's a respectful quality.
Well, it's like I say all the time. I just would not go get financial advice from a broke investor. It doesn't make sense. So why would I take health advice from someone that's either miserable or isn't where they want to be or isn't living the life that they want?
Oh, it's so important to consider, and I look for that now when I'm working with people.
You have to. You have to. It's the number one thing. You want the people that are about their business, because then you're speaking on a different level.
It's the same thing when you associate yourself with people in friendships or in relationships.
All of it.
It's the exact same thing. Well, you don't want to bring yourself down because it has significant effects on you personally.
You are who you hang with. That saying that your kids used to.
It's so true.
Or your parents used to say to you when you were a child. It's very true. And as an adult, it becomes, because we have less and less free time, you have to be more and more aware of where you're spending that and who you're spending it with. Well,
of course, I read Inc.com and Forbes Magazine and Fortune.com, and then I read Psychology Today, and they publish these papers all the time about you are who you hang with. So, I mean, it's well documented as well.
Oh, yeah.
Working more than 40 hours a week is associated with increased alcohol and tobacco consumption, as well as unhealthy weight gain in men and depression in women.
Yeah, because you have to let off. I don't at all question that.
Totally.
I totally get it.
Because, at that point, you're looking for relaxation.
Well, it's not just that. Like, what I found was when I was really crazy about business. I mean, I'm still crazy compared to the average person, but when I was...
I'm still nuts.
When I was a crazy person, compulsive to an unhealthy degree, I loved going and having wine because it was the literal only way I could shut my brain off and not think about work, which is a horrible state to be in, and I didn't even recognize it. Yeah. But I almost had to. It's not like I loved drinking or, was like, we wouldn't binge drink or anything, but if I didn't physically get out of my office, which was my living room, it was my home, an open condo.
Out of this one half of the place I spent all of my time.
A one-bedroom condo we lived in, and the living room was our office. That's how we lived. If I didn't physically leave that place and then get a drink of wine, because if I was somewhere else, if I was at the grocery store, if I was shopping, it's just business. I mean, I get it. It's a real trap, and it's a horrible way to be.
Oh, is it ever? And so we see these differences. For men, it's usually weight gain.
Yeah, and you gained weight.
Oh, phew.
It's so funny.
Did I ever?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I put on 35 pounds through medical school plus, first real venture into entrepreneurship at year 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
So interesting.
It really is. And with women, it's normally depression or low mood. And I think that's just because women are better at communicating exactly what they're going through health-wise, whereas men would just say, they would just gain weight and not say anything about mental, emotional.
Yeah, they shove it down.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
Food-wise.
Shove it down, yeah, exactly. Whether it be emotional eating or whatever.
Yeah.
I've got one more stat to share, and this one is really the kicker.
Okay.
And this is the one that bothers me about the whole thing. I mean,
bothers you about what whole thing? Be more clear.
It bothers me about this idea of working hard and getting ahead and being successful and
it's just so funny to hear you say any of this, because I think you're the one who actually planted the seeds for me to turn into a crazy person.
Oh, totally.
You introduced me to all the people that were like...
All the things you're saying, those are all the things that I had lived by before.
Like the Tim Ferrisses and all those people that gave me such bad anxiety. Mm-hmm. You introduced me to those people. I wouldn't even know those people existed.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally get it. And we're making hard work seem bad here.
No. Like, I'm talking... All we did for 6 years was work. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if people understand that.
I know.
Like, we didn't have fun. We didn't do fun things. Like, I didn't buy clothes. I didn't go anywhere fun. I missed out on about 10 family weddings down south. We didn't do we didn't have romantic dates. We didn't take time for each other. Like, we didn't have a Sunday or a Saturday. I'm talking 7 days a week. I get it. No, I know. Eyes open, we were working.
For me, it was Michael Jordan as a kid. I got to be honest with you. This is where this comes from.
Okay.
These quotes, they start with Michael Jordan saying, if you're not shooting jump shots, someone else is shooting jump shots. And they're going to be better jump shooters.
And it's true.
That's right?
Right.
And then, of course, we get into these modern day business. So at that time, it was Tim Ferriss, it was Tony Robbins, it was these people who were promoting, okay, you have this time, you have this ability, you got to work it, you got to push it. Which in some circumstances is true.
No, and I'm not saying that, like, Dave and I both, with saying all of this, there is times of sacrifice. Like, last month, for instance, David didn't have one day off.
Right.
And that is something that we sat down together and said, is this possible? No, for 6 weeks. Is this possible for us together right now in our life? And we made a plan around it. We took a week off after.
Yeah.
Or not a week, 4 days. We went
It
away.
felt like a week, yeah.
Right, but like, I don't want to make it sound like there's still times of sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Like this month coming up, I see that you're going to be working like 5 weeks in a row again.
Yeah, every day.
So we do these things, but it's more now not from like a panicked, this is our survival and the only way to do it. We sit down as a couple and we say, is this possible right now mentally, emotionally for us? And what would doing this be for our careers?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with the way I work now. I don't do things driven by, I have to get ahead. If I don't, someone's going to be, I don't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. I do things more from, I'm going to share my truth, my honest self in the most simple, loving, open way. And whoever's out there that's supposed to find me. And if I vibe, if you know, you hear the words behind the words, if you get the vibe behind the vibe, boom. Right?
Exactly.
But we sacrifice all the time, still.
Oh, definitely.
It's just not the same. The energy is different, and just that panic being lifted changes everything.
And that communication at the start sets up a situation where we are on top of the nutrition. We're on top of the
we never let go of those things.
We're on top of the communication for stress reduction and that type of thing.
Right.
So we have to take care of those things because that's ultimately what's going to be in terms of prevention of cardiovascular issues, weight gain, right?
Yeah.
Mental disturbance.
We're more aware of the being about our business too.
Definitely.
Like the, optimal wellness, like that's part of it and it's all put in.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I have to share the kicker.
Okay.
As you reach 50 hours of work in 1 week, productivity goes down.
Yeah. And I don't at all, think about those late nights that we would have and we'd end up in an argument over something so stupid like a font. Remember
Fonts
that?
are important, Amy.
Remember when we had to switch our server over?
Okay, that was a nightmare.
And we lost right, but maybe if
we
weren't doing it on like a Sunday night, like at 1 a.m., like after we had just worked, like...
Okay, that was not my fault.
No, that's what I'm saying. Together, if we had picked a better time, like we just we were so strung out, and then we would do these things.
Seems like a good time.
Let's throw a little gas on this fire. There's so many things where there's just mental collapses that
when you switch a server over, when you move your website.
If you're doing this stuff yourself, good luck. That's the other thing I have to say. We didn't. This whole time,
we didn't have anybody.
We never hired anybody to work for us because David's education was so expensive. I couldn't fathom, like, what was they going to do? Sit around and read a magazine while he was working his butt off and give someone else the money we could be putting on towards his education. So I couldn't get there, which is such a terrible way to think because my sanity was worth the money. So we didn't hire anyone. We did literally everything by ourselves. So we did this server migration.
When you want to switch a server, you want to do it in the middle of the night.
You do regularly, but maybe not after like a board exam and like.
And you want to do it on the weekends.
Oh, anyway.
When less people are on your website.
It was an absolute nightmare.
We ended up losing our site.
We lost our site.
We lost everything.
People
for
were
about 4
emailing
or 5
us.
days.
People were flipping out. We lost so much money. And then and then the people that already had spent the money were emailing telling me off. Yeah. Like thinking it was like a scam site that like disappeared. Oh my god, it was such a nightmare. Wasn't that a nightmare?
It was a nightmare.
God, I'm so happy we don't have to do that again.
As you reach 50 hours of work in 1 week, your productivity starts to go down.
And you start to turn against your spouse.
You start to turn against everyone. It's true, and it can be funny if you can see it from that angle.
We have learned to laugh about everything.
Oh.
You have to. Because the things we've been through are so insane. We've done the most insane things.
We have. So why are all these things bad for your health? Why does your productivity go down? Why does all this happen?
Because your brain function goes down, and I think you get anxiety and you more spin than your, like, executive. Like, it's just like in the first of the day, I feel like I could, like, high-five myself. Like, the stuff I get done, and I'm like, yeah, good writing. Yeah, I could do this. This conversation was awesome. Oh, whatever. And then, like, later on in the day, it's like, meh, you know. And then if I pushed it right now till, like, 9, 10, 11, 12, like I used to, I mean, the content would suck.
Things start to go down.
Yeah, and then you start to beat yourself up for it.
You sleep less.
Yeah.
You end up being more stressed because you're not nurturing that other side of life. You're always in sympathetic response because you're always pushing it, which means cortisol goes really, really high. Mm-hmm. If you have, if you're a super strong person, you can keep cortisol high for a very long time. Eventually, it's going to plummet. And your immune system is going to go with it. Yeah. And you're going to have,
and it's
you're
scary.
Going to get sick a lot.
It's really scary when your body starts to do funky things and you don't know why.
And then, of course, we will see digestive changes in that case. We see mental, emotional changes because your immune system and cortisol response are so intimately tied to all these other bodily functions. And then in order to regenerate, you need to sleep. But if you're working through, if you're pulling all-nighters, how many all-nighters did I do?
Oh my gosh.
Then it's going to have negative ramifications. And we know that if you stay up for longer than 24 to 36 hours at a time, the risk of getting sick and developing chronic issues skyrockets the more you do that.
And the thing about this conversation is we're never saying, because people will go the whole other way. Well, then don't work hard.
Well, yeah, no, if I don't work hard, I'm going to be healthy.
And especially, like, a lot of people in this generation, there's a lot of people in this generation that are like us. And then there's I find the whole opposite side where they think that, taking a picture of themselves, drinking a green smoothie on the beach in a bikini should earn them.
Yeah, I should be Instagram famous.
That's all I should have to do for a living. And, blessed are those that's the reality. But they're far and few in between. And, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes of a lot of even those people. A lot of those people have teams that you have no idea the stuff that's going on. So working hard is necessary to do great things in most cases. Yeah. We can always find the cases of people that basically won the lottery of business or whatever. And people actually win the lottery. So there are things that happen for sure. Yeah. But if you're, going to do something great, it's going to take some time and effort and attention.
It's going to take time and effort. And the best example of promoting or preaching this right now is Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a guy that I follow online. It's like this,
Here we go.
Tim Ferriss, Tony Robbins of the modern time, in business specifically. And his thing is, like Elon, you got to push it. The more you push it, the better you'll do. But if you listen really closely and you understand things about his life, because he uses his examples for his success, right? He's building his team out. Yeah. He's building his team out. So if you're running a media company like he is, or like we do, you have an idea, you push it to your team. Yeah. It gets done. You're able to go on the treadmill. Do you know what I mean? Like you're able to do something,
or you can move on to the next thing,
or you're able to have a nap. Like you're able to have a contemplative moment, or you're able to at least not be in creative mode all the time.
Yeah, that's what's exhausting.
So you have to watch out for what people are saying, but we don't discount hard work. Hard work is extremely important.
Hard work is necessary. What I'm talking about is the difference between pushing yourself to a harmful place.
Exactly.
But hard work is necessary. So it's not I just don't want anyone to ever interpret that, anything we're talking about is an extreme. We're talking about the balance of reality of what needs to be done. We're not, it's not magic. It's not...
The way to work hard is to be completely optimized.
That's right.
In all facets.
Fueled. And that means, working hard, what I learned is, as a woman, I don't always have to be nice. Which was really hard for me to learn. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean kind. I'm always kind. And I don't mean a decent person. I'm never mean. But I don't have to be, quote unquote, nice. And that means when, it is business. And a lot of the times people will look at my business, and because it is like a positive base and it is uplifting and it is based in love and self-improvement, they think they can then just walk all over you. And as a woman in business, like Dave has never had an issue and no one's ever called him a bitch.
No, never.
For saying no or telling someone to remove our content or, requesting whatever. But I have. And one thing I had to learn, I used to cry. Like, oh, am I doing it wrong? I don't know. Maybe I should just give away everything, whatever. But it's business is business is business. And at the end of the day, you have to stay grounded in your worth. So that was one thing I had to learn. And I had to learn how to say no. I used to take every opportunity. If you go back through my blog, 2009, I was doing post content for money, and I think I have one on there for like maple syrup from the States.
Oh my god!
Right, but
yeah, right.
But at that time, I was giving away and working so hard, and I wasn't generating enough money from, because people think it's free. People just demand stuff and don't realize how hard the work, it's like when people just casually say, so where's the cookbook? Where's the app? Where's the whatever? Like, they don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. Like, they just have no idea.
Yeah, it's true.
So, learning to say no and then not feeling bad, especially as a female, and then learning that you don't have to be quote-unquote nice.
Oh, and both of those points are so important in this overwork idea. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you brought those up because that's been your core, like, recommendation for change.
Oh yeah.
The whole time we've been going through this, for me, you've been trying to teach me to let things come. Yeah. Let the good come. Well, and that's a really good lesson for me.
And the one thing about the saying no is because when you're starting out in business, you have to say yes to a lot. You have to sacrifice. You have to give away as much as you humanly can. And I'm talking like conversations, time. You have to put yourself out there for a good 2 to 3 years to become an expert in your field. And you're going to give away everything. Mm-hmm. And that's reality. You're going to do a lot for free. You're going to, just give. But then there comes a time when you're respected expert in your field where you proved yourself based on results that it's time to know your worth. And that's when you start saying no to things that are beneath you. Like, over the last few years, I've had every pyramid protein powder contact me about selling to my members. I've had, every pyramid company that sells those wraps and supplements and
teas.
Oh, the detox teas and all that stuff. And I know people that had the same amount of following as me that signed up at that time when I was, that claim they've made, $1 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
by now.
Those stories, yeah.
So, should I have taken those opportunities? Or was I right to say no in those times because it was ethically against what I believed in? I think they're crap. I could have made a whole bunch of money off all my people but these people found me out of nowhere. We did no, money promotion. This is an actual homegrown community that trust what I have to say. And for me, that integrity was way more than, like the millions will come kind of deal.
Yeah.
So, you
have to make those choices and you have to roll with it at that point.
It's really tricky.
I think you do a great job.
Well, we'll see how it all pans out in the end.
Well, I mean, we've been, as you can hear from today's show, we've been through the lessons, and we hope that you can, take our examples and use them to optimize your life and to recognize what too much work is, what optimized work really means. I guess that's the point, what optimized work is, because when you manage that, when you manage your health, when you manage your overall wellness, you can work like crazy and you can do amazing things.
And you can surrender to times of sacrifice like we do. But then you understand that
you can survive overwork.
Well, it's not survive. You can thrive. Right. You have to then pick something that feels really good at the end. And for us, it's like we do the exact opposite. We work our tails off, like say for 6 weeks straight, and then we book 4 days at a cabin on an island in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so nice.
And that's what we like to do. Yeah. And we feel fueled.
Yeah.
So.
I love it. Oscar's going to finish the show with a few smucks.
Yeah, he's smucking. He's very cozy. He's
very
like
cozy.
Everybody
very
to know.
Happy.
He's very happy. Yeah.
I like this type of work, he says. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio, and have a great day.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamiHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamiHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamiHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at DamiHealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and see you tomorrow.